Chris Fernari here for Brewbound, and I am at the 2019 Craft Brewers Conference in Denver, Colorado. As always, we're walking the show floor and picking attendees' brains on the state of the industry. One of the questions we've been asking a lot of folks is, what's up with functional beer and hard kombucha and hard seltzer? And what are their thoughts on this emerging category? Here's what they had to say.
I think, it's funny how things sort of swing back and forth, right? So for a few years it was stunt beers, and then for a few years it was giant, imperials and doubles, and I think rightly so. Now we're looking at sort of the lower ABV beers that can be much more sessionable. And as was mentioned today in the State of the Industry piece of the presentation, they talked about everybody's getting better at that too. So in a lot of ways, having all these other pressures on the industry make us better at what we do. So I do think that we want to continue to play in those spaces, and it would be foolish to ignore it because it's what consumers are asking for.
Inevitably growing, and if you don't believe that, then you're wrong. It's just going to grow, and you see small base, of course, with kombucha, but it's growing very fast, and I think that's the sort of enjoyment that it's bringing to consumers that's going to help revitalize growth in our craft brewing industry, because if we can all find those niches of flavor profiles and delight for our customers, then we're going to invigorate our own sales. And that's where you really have to look at is, what are the flavors that people want, and what can you do to deliver a differentiated product and experience?
I see it continually elevating. There's a lot more. I mean, just being out here in the last week, there's a lot of talk of dabbling with it, bringing it on, playing with it. We have vendors that are asking us directly, are we in it already? So I think there's definitely a groundswell for it. The next 6 to 12 months, I mean, my crystal ball is a little smudgy, so I can't tell you exactly what it has in store, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised. We in-house, we do kombucha on draft. That's just OG non-alcoholic hipster vinegar. So we see a lot of folks drinking that, come in specifically for it, and we like it ourselves. So to make maybe do an alcoholic version of that, that's got a deck of cards. We'll see what card we pull.
That is a really good question. Where do I see it going, and how am I making sense of these kind of non-beer beers or non-traditional craft beers? Boy, I think for craft beer drinkers, the ones that are going to be here in the long run, they don't seem interested in that. I think personally the people who are going to these seltzers and some of these kombuchas were people who were trying out craft beer because it was the popular thing, and they're going to move to the next popular thing, and then when seltzer's not popular, they're going to go to the next popular thing. It's not bad, but I don't think these people are necessarily going to be in it for the long haul, and you can chase them, but you're just going to be chasing them forever.
I think this is something that Nielsen more broadly, even beyond Bevel, really has an eye on, as there's an increased focus in health and wellness across the board, across consumer packaged good products. It's not just in the Bevel space. So what we've done is we're really trying to capture what those trendy health and wellness, either the broader trends are. So these days a lot of focus is on things like carbs, or just products, whether it's specific product lines, so alternative sweeteners or functional things that you're adding to your beer. For us, it really comes down to the fundamentals of just understanding what's in the product. But on the other end of that, it's understanding how consumers are then approaching and thinking about these sorts of products. So I see alternative sweeteners in the product. Is that something that resonates with me? Is that something that's going to shift my decision as a consumer? Just because the product's out there doesn't necessarily mean consumers are looking for it. So there's the two pieces of understanding just the sheer sales behind some of these functional products, and how we see a lot of crossover from the non-alcoholic beverage space really informing and bleeding into the alcoholic space, and then also just understanding consumer approach to health, to wellness, to the products they're looking for, to the decisions they're making around the products they're purchasing.
As far as what we do at the distributor level, we're very into it. We're listening to everybody who's got new and exciting brands that have some sort of functionality, whether it's infused beers that have certain ingredients in it. We've got kombuchas that have probiotic benefits. You've got the hard seltzers with the zero sugar, which is kind of everybody's bad word these days. But I think all those products have an interesting space in this category, and we are spending a lot of time in development of them, and we're seeing the sales. I mean, you're seeing places that are buying 10 to 15 cases of Truly a week. And that's no joke. It's really happening. So I don't see it going away.
Yeah, we're watching very closely and participating to some extent. I mean, with the Night Shift beer brand, we introduced Nightlight last year, which is our light lager. It's the first beer that we put nutritional facts on, and we did try to target around, it's 120 calories, so not quite below that 100 mark, but it's in the ballpark of being a little bit more healthier for you kind of beverage. And that was our first step in that direction. We distribute a non-alc brewery that's doing surprisingly well for us. We're really excited to see. There definitely seems to be something there. I don't know how big that market is yet, but we're excited to be part of it. And then whether it be hard seltzer or some of those other kind of beverages, we're certainly curious. But it seems like there's still room for people who just want to drink great beer too. And I think if we all take our eye off that, that might accelerate the slowdown, not improve it.
I think that the window is even starting to close on some of the people coming to market in those categories. I think the ones who have already been 6 to 10 months into R&D and starting to prep for certain of those categories, they're the ones who are really going to reap the benefits of some of the growth in those smaller categories and each of those different things. If people haven't started the innovation yet and really started down that path, I think we're going to have a lot of people that are late adapters to that market that are going to put a lot of time and effort in developing those products, and they're going to be too late to the game as that fades, or at least the category doesn't grow maybe to quite the size that we think. So, we have started R&D in some of those areas, but also just getting back to reinventing and our core brands and our focusing on our own portfolio too. So I think that area is only going to grow, especially in the health and wellness category. But everybody's coming for it. Just talking with people here at the conference this week, 50% of all breweries that I talked to have already had some type of R&D development coming to market here in the next 6 months.